A king lost his mind, and nobody could do a damn thing about it. Not his army, not his priests, not even the gods he thought had his back. Now take a closer look. Out in the tall grass by the Euphrates, there's a man, filthy, naked, hair wild like he hasn't seen a mirror in years. His skin's been cooked by the sun. He's not talking, he's growling, eating grass like an animal. This is Nebuchadnezzar II. Yeah, that king, the king of kings, the guy who turned Babylon into the most powerful city on earth, the same man behind the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon. So what the hell happened? How does a man at the top of the world end up crawling in the dirt? Was it madness or something way worse? Here's the thing, history books totally skip this part. Was Nebuchadnezzar losing it all of a sudden? Or was this a smackdown straight from the gods? Picture it, the most powerful dude alive, staring at the throne of Babylon, feeling eyes on him that weren't even human. Marduk, the city's god, was watching. And Marduk, he doesn't share the spotlight. Not with kings, not with anyone. Before Nebuchadnezzar took over, Babylon wasn't much, just dust and rubble. He didn't inherit a palace, he inherited a dead city. But piece by piece, brick by brick, he turned it into a beating heart of the ancient world, a city bold enough to dare the gods themselves to blink. He didn't just slap up walls, he built a statement that shouted across the desert. The Ishtar Gate shot up like a giant sapphire cliff, dragons and bulls carved into the bricks, snarling in the torchlight. For anyone trudging through the sand, that blue wasn't just a color, it was like the sky itself had landed on earth.
Then came the Hanging Gardens. Nebuchadnezzar stacked green terraces high for his wife, Emeitis, who missed the rolling hills of her homeland. Water hissed through hidden channels, plants clinging to terraces like some kind of sorcery. But beauty like that didn't come cheap. Men, sweat, and lives pushed to the breaking point. Some called it a miracle. Others whispered it was straight-up madness. But as the garden soared, so did Nebuchadnezzar's shadow. He set his sights on the Etemenanki, the Ziggurat. You know it better as the Tower of Babel. He wasn't just building a temple, he was stacking a staircase straight to the heavens, daring the gods to blink. This city ran on blood and law. The Code of Hammurabi, an eye for an eye, wasn't a suggestion. The gods weren't nice. They were storms that could drown a city, plagues that could wipe out a village, tempests that struck without warning. Centuries before, Sargon of Akkad tried to climb this high, thought he was untouchable. Weeks later, his empire turned to dust, sand swallowing armies, fire devouring palaces. In Babylon, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. Pause for a sec. Imagine having absolute power over the whole known world. Could you stay humble, or would pride straight up devour you? Nebuchadnezzar didn't have to wonder. He bought into his own hype. He looked out from his rooftop and bellowed, "Is this not great Babylon which I have built by my mighty power?" Big mistake. Like the sky itself had heard him and was about to clap back. Then it hit, a voice from the heavens, cold, final. "The kingdom has departed from you." In that moment, even the bricks of Babylon felt it. They shook with the weight of what was lost.
Then came the 7 years of madness. The priests of Marduk were freaking out as their king, the guy who was supposed to protect the temples, started growling at the moon, munching on grass like some farm animal. They swore Marduk had dipped out of the city. And without its god, Babylon wasn't a city. It was a powder keg ready to blow. Some nerds call it boanthropy, a crazy condition where a man thinks he's a cow. But science doesn't explain the timing. Why hit Babylon at its peak? Why did the curse seem baked into the dirt long after Nebuchadnezzar snapped back to reality? When he finally came to, dirt scraped off his face. He grabbed his throne, but it was too late. The city's divine shield was cracked. Enter Nabonidus. This bloke didn't just rule, he threw the sacred order out the window.
dumped Marduk, bowed to the moon god's sin, and bugged off to the desert, leaving his kid Belshazzar to rage hard while the city burned from within. And while music, laughter, and wine echoed through Babylon, the Persians were quietly rerouting the Euphrates, turning the empire's lifeblood against itself. The collapse? It wasn't coming. It was already rolling. When Cyrus the Great rolled through Babylon's gates, there was zero blood, no arrows. The gates swung open from the inside like someone had handed him the keys. Even the priests of Marduk welcomed him. They swore their god had invited the Persians to deal with their own kings. Today, the Ishtar Gate isn't guarding a city, it's sitting in a museum in Berlin. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, lost under silt, vanished from the world. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of kings, now barely remembered, a shadow of his former glory. The curse of Babylon wasn't about magic or demons, it was the trap of empire. The hubris that convinces men they're untouchable, that they can ignore law, nature, and fate. We see it today in empires, corporations, even leaders who think they're too big to fail, too smart to fall. History doesn't lie. Pride always comes due. We've walked the ruins of Babylon, cracked walls, fallen gates, and ghostly gardens. Nebuchadnezzar spent 7 years as a beast to learn one harsh truth. The difference between a king and a god is simple. Eventually, a